I have been working as an interior designer now for about 3 years, and in this video, I want to shed some light and explain the truth behind what it's actually like being an interior designer. Let's get into it. So, what actually is an interior designer? Well, nowadays it can mean a range of things, but I like to think of it as someone who uses design principles, space planning, and client psychology to help solve real problems people have with their homes and provide solutions that make their spaces feel both beautiful and functional. To me, and I can only speak for myself here, the main unique skill of an interior designer is understanding how people actually live in their spaces and then creating designs that work for their real life, not just for photos. We do this to help people love coming home and make their daily routines flow better than they would if they just threw furniture around randomly. Common problems that interior designers work on include helping a family maximize storage in a small space, creating a home office that actually helps someone be productive, or designing a living room where kids can play but parents don't feel like they're living in a daycare. Interior design is such a big area. So what you find is that as designers get later in their career, they will often specialize in one particular area, like e-design, kitchen design, or small space solutions. And it will also probably specialize in working with certain types of clients as well. So the work I do as an interior designer is that I mainly work in the e-design space, and my projects focus on helping everyday families create spaces they love without breaking the bank. Much of my day-to-day revolves around creating design plans and providing support to clients to help them implement these designs in their own homes. Let me walk you through what it looks like. So the general workflow is that a client will reach out because they have a specific problem with their space. Maybe their living room feels cramped, or they can't figure out how to make their bedroom both relaxing and functional. Sometimes it is also as simple as someone who wants a refresh, a change of headspace. It can also simply just be someone who got a new condo or house and they want someone to design the interior so that it truly feels like home to them. We'll then go into trying to understand if this is actually something I can do within their budget and timeline. If it's a good fit, then we'll go into what I call the discovery phase. Generally speaking, there are 4 steps that go into delivering a design project. The discovery phase I mentioned is the first one. So I'll have them fill out a detailed questionnaire about how they actually live in the space, what they like and dislike, how they want to feel, and their inspiration. Then we'll take photos of the room from every angle and measure everything. Nowadays, it has become so simple to do this. There are applications you can download on your phone and can give a professional scan of your room with a very good accuracy. After I've gathered all the information I need, I'll do a thorough analysis. Basically just to work through the details, note some questions I may have, and start planning how I'm actually going to design their space. Then, if I can help them, and only if I truly can, I can move on to the next step. I'll create a complete design plan with mood boards, furniture layouts, shopping lists, and then help them implement them step by step. I like to separate it into 3 main stages here. First is the design concept, where I essentially come up with the color palettes, the mood boards, and the initial space planning based on the information that I gathered. Second, I do the design development, where we go beyond the concept and create a more detailed layout with actual measurements and already start choosing the fixtures, the furniture, and any additional elements that will be needed. Third is the rendering, where I set up everything so that the client can visualize how the room will look once it's fully completed. By then, I can even provide a walkthrough of the space virtually and decide with them if there are parts that need to be changed or discussed. It's one of my favorite parts of what I do because I get to see their reactions, and it's such a beautiful feeling to be able to just come in, use your creativity, and make such a lasting impact on people's lives. After that, then, well, it's pretty much done. We go ahead and simply apply all the planning made beforehand. In other words, we do some interior design magic. And just like that, you've transformed a house into a home. Ta-da! Now, along this process, there's a lot of collaboration with different people. For example, When we're doing the initial consultation and scoping of the project, this may require me talking with their partner or family members just to make sure that I understand everyone's needs and I haven't missed anything important. During the design phase, this can involve working with contractors if there's any renovation work or coordinating with furniture vendors to make sure pieces will arrive on time. And finally, the implementation stage is often done with the clients themselves, where I guide them through styling and arranging everything to make sure the final result actually works for them and their daily life and looks as beautiful as they envisioned. From my general experience and conversations with other interior designers, this type of workflow is pretty consistent across the industry. So, if you're looking into becoming an interior designer yourself, this is the general way you would expect to work with clients. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that interior design businesses are structured in kind of two main ways. And there are other approaches that are just like a mixture of those two, right? The first one is working for a design firm, which is kind of like being part of a team where basically you have a group of designers, project managers, and sometimes architects. And in this setup, your goal is to work on larger projects or serve clients who want more of a full service design. The other way is being a solo designer or running your own small practice. And what I mean by that is that you will work independently and take on projects that fit your expertise and schedule. This kind of system means you work on a range of different projects. So you might be doing a living room makeover one day and then helping someone plan a whole house layout the next. Of course, it all depends on your aspirations and where you want to go with interior design. I've seen so many designers who simply love focusing on living room makeovers or a very specific niche like sustainable living. The possibilities here are endless. If you want me to show you how to find what would really work for you, comment below and I'll make sure to do a video on this. Deal? Now, whether you choose to work on your own terms or in a design firm, both of these systems have their own pros and cons. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter because I find the work so interesting no matter what structure I'm working on. I enjoy it nonetheless. For me personally, I managed to start and build my interior design business without a design degree or prior experience. It wasn't the easiest path. And at that time, it's also the reason I created the Interior Academy, where I help others do the same. That's because most design firms will require you to have a degree or some experience. But for a lot of us passionate people, getting back to school and paying massive tuition fees for years is not something we can afford. Of course, if that's what you want to do and you have the necessary resources to do so, by all means, go for it. I just find that today there are endless possibilities and you can definitely start your own interior design business without going through the traditional path. So why not go for it? That's what I did, and I know hundreds of others I've personally helped do the same thing. Now, I find that people often really glamorize working in interior design online. Like, it seems to be all mood board creation, shopping for beautiful furniture, and yet somehow you make good money just having great taste. In reality, this is not always the case, but the workday is still very interesting compared to a lot of other professions. My general experience is that the workday typically starts around 9 a.m. where I'll check emails and client updates. Then from about 9:30 to 10:30, I'll have some sort of client consultation or a project review call. Then between 10:30 and 12:30, I'll have a work block where I can do design work, creating floor plans, sourcing furniture, and working on mood boards. 12:30 to 1:30, I'll typically have my lunch break, and then after that, I have another design block from 1:30 to about 4, working on presentations, renderings, or finalizing shopping lists. Then 4 to 5, I may have another client call or spend time answering questions and providing support. From 5 to 5:30, I basically just wrap up the day, respond to any urgent messages, and organize my tasks for tomorrow. The rest of my days are simply about enjoying life, being creative, and spending time with those important to me, like my beautiful daughter. It's important to mention that we don't only just create pretty rooms as interior designers. We're kind of like the bridge between what clients dream about and then what actually works in real life. So sometimes I may be doing presentations explaining why certain layouts won't work, or helping clients understand how to prioritize their budget to get the biggest impact. And there is so much to say, but I decided to go down that path because I can't see myself doing anything else. I just love design, and I also love to see other people's lives change through it. The reason I'm an interior designer can be boiled down into 4 main reasons. The first one is that the work is just so interesting. I mean, every single project is like solving a puzzle. How do you create storage that doesn't look like storage? It's constantly challenging because no 2 spaces are the same, and no 2 families live the same way. Plus, you're always learning new things. One week, I'm researching the best paint colors for north-facing rooms. The next week, I'm figuring out how to maximize storage in a tiny kitchen. The idea of constantly developing and learning new ways to solve problems, it's something that I really love. The second one is the flexibility and work-life balance. Interior design jobs, especially if you work for yourself, are generally quite well known to have a better work-life balance than other careers like law or traditional corporate jobs. Most design work I've seen runs no longer than 9 to 5, but a lot of it is project-based, so you can expect to have control over your own schedule. I personally love this because all that time I would have wasted commuting to an office or working late nights if I was still doing accounting, I can spend pursuing my other interests or just being present with my family. It gives me a lot more freedom to structure my life the way that I actually want to live it. The third one is that the compensation in interior design is pretty good. I mean, it's not like tech salaries, but you can definitely make a solid living. In my case, going from $6,000 to $55,000 a month shows what's possible. Even part-time designers I know are making $3,000 to $6,000 a month working part-time just a few days a week. So it's definitely possible even if you don't have a degree, as long as you have the skills to know how to translate a client's wishes into beautiful and functional living spaces. And the final one is that as an interior designer, you can work with so many different types of people and spaces. I've worked with young families, empty nesters, busy professionals. Each project teaches you something new about how people want to live. If there's a type of space or client you're really passionate about, chances are you can probably build a whole business around it. So the final point is, should you be an interior designer? Well, of course you should, but only if you want to. Interior design is a great career like I've explained, but it's not easy all the time. And if you don't like problem solving, working with people, or constantly learning new things, then it might not be the right fit for you. You should be comfortable with the fact that every project is different, which means you can't just copy and paste solutions. You need to actually listen to what people need and figure out creative ways to solve their specific problems. And honestly, you need to be okay with people having strong opinions about their spaces, because they do, and they should. You also need to understand that this isn't about having perfect taste or knowing about all the latest trends. It's about understanding how people live and creating spaces that actually work for their real life, not just for Instagram photos. Some of my most successful projects have been the simplest ones. Just helping someone finally have a living room where they can relax instead of constantly picking up clutter. The best part about interior design is that if you're someone who already rearranges every room you walk into in your head, or if you're constantly noticing what doesn't work in spaces and thinking, I would do this differently, well, that's literally what this job is. Listen, you don't need a fancy degree or years of experience to start helping people love their homes. You just need to care about making spaces work better for the people who live in them. And honestly, most people desperately need that help, whether they realize it or not. If you've ever wondered if you could turn your eye for design into actual income, or if you're one of those people who gets excited about organizing and making spaces more functional, drop a comment below. I love hearing those and I read every single one. Maybe you're already doing this work. You just haven't started charging for it yet. If you want to dive deeper into whether this path is right for you, I have a whole separate video explaining the exact sign that you should start your interior design business. I hope you enjoyed our time together today and it gives you an idea of what interior design actually looks like day to day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep making content like this. I'll see you in the next one.